The following video is part 5 in a 5-part video series that provides context on the Fierce KDR Gentleman. I'm Rick Longnecker, a founder of the Pi Alpha Chapter, class of 1986. This video will cover the topic, how do we implement the Fierce KDR Gentleman? Well, there's a number of things we need to do. One is we need to be able to evaluate the chapter, each of our chapters. All recruits, all pledges, all actives should be evaluated against the following criteria. Recruits should be evaluated prior to a bid being offered. If they don't meet our minimum standards of the Fierce KDR Gentleman, they should not be offered a bid. Number 2, pledges should be evaluated prior to being initiated. Once again, if they're not meeting the minimum standards of the Fierce KDR Gentleman, we should not initiate them as brothers. Actives should be evaluated at the end of each semester, including executive committee members at the end of each semester, so that we can sit down and provide feedback to brothers, and so we can reward and recognize them for their achievements as Fierce KDR Gentlemen. Now, each brother should be evaluated. Why? Well, here's a concept. Active chapter executive committee members should do the following. 1, evaluate each active and pledge through the 2 sets of criteria that have been discussed in previous videos. We should take the bottom 2 or 3 areas where a brother is struggling, and we should document specific examples and provide them with statements of why they were rated low in that area. We should then bring each brother into a room with executive committee to privately share the evaluations and the feedback to show that we care about them as a brother and that we're there to help them improve as a student and as a leader within KDR and on campus. For those actives and pledges that do not meet the minimum standards, they should be placed on a 30-day improvement plan. If they do not improve, they should be removed from the chapter. Now, maybe it's not a 30-day improvement plan, maybe it's a semester-long improvement plan, but the bottom line is, as a brotherhood, if we truly care about our brothers, we need to share the criteria by which we define brotherhood, evaluate them against that criteria, help them improve their performance as brothers, and we should, for those that are not meeting our minimum standards and they're not showing improvement, whether it's over a 30-day period or a semester, they should be removed from the fraternity. It's pretty simple. Now, once again, this is just examples. Now, let's look at evaluating the executive committee. One concept is that we have the Alumni Association Executive Committee review each of our executive committee members, evaluate them in the same process we do with all other members, and we hold them accountable for improving their performance. It's the same process, just evaluating the executive committee of the active chapter by the Alumni Executive Committee. Now, in looking at the chapter as an overall, one of the things we should consider is having the alumni and the active chapter executive committee come together to look across all of the ratings of our individual brothers and creating a profile then of the overall chapter in each of the rating areas, taking the bottom 2 or 3 areas that the fraternity chapter collectively is not doing well in, and working to put together specific actions that the chapter can take and the alumni can take to help the chapter to improve in those areas. Those areas and the findings should be actively shared with the active chapter members during the chapter meeting. Now, here are some next steps to implement the Fierce KDR Gentleman. First off, as you've seen through these 5 videos, everything here is purely in draft form. I've said multiple times, these are simply examples of the system. We need to get together, the active chapter, the alumni chapter, we need to come together and finish defining the quantitative and qualitative qualities of a Fierce KDR Gentleman, define the rewards, recognition, and penalties, set up a coaching review procedure and process by which we help brothers identify their areas of weakness, work on those areas of weakness and enhance and build them as KDR gentlemen. Number two, we need to set up a tracking spreadsheet to help us look at our recruits and rushees and actives so we can collectively see the progress we're making. We should, number three, run a test using the executive committee. Let's set that up right now in January 2016. Let's set that up right now. Let's see how it works. Let's use the executive committee as a way to debug the system. Let's then educate the active chapter brothers about this process and conduct a test for all chapter members by looking backward at fall 2015 and just running them through that. Once again, we don't have rewards and recognition right now, but it would be interesting from a learning perspective to take each of our chapter members and run them through the quantitative and qualitative qualities, see where they rate, sit them down, walk them through it, and provide them with feedback. Once again, the focus of the Fierce KDR Gentleman is to help brothers quantify what brotherhood means, get us all on the same page, establish a way to communicate with each other in an effective way. That's what the KDR Gentleman evaluation is all about.